Hey everyone. So I talked about doing other shows at the end of the Escape the Night episode 6 review. I talked about Marco Polo for one, and 11/22/63 as another. I just finished watching the first episode of Marco Polo actually about an hour ago. Um, and so I just wanted to give a little recap of it and give you my thoughts on it all. So the first episode is called The Wayfarer, and it just shows this little monologue of Mongol and or Mongolia, I should say, sorry, in the 13th century. Um, and it explains basically just that Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, sorry, that's how they pronounced it in the show. So I'm assuming that's how you were supposed to say it in real life. I'm not quite sure, so if I'm mistaken, please someone just comment in the comments below and tell me if I'm saying it wrong completely. But yeah, Kublai Khan is the founder of the Yuan dynasty, as I found out via some other sites. And he is just reigning over the largest empire on Earth as far as the 13th century goes. And his armies are going along the Silk Road, and pretty much what the monologue says, annihilating every holdout in his path except for one, which is in China at the time. Chancellor, I'm not sure how to say the Chancellor's name, so if someone can tell me how to say the Chancellor's name, that would be greatly appreciated, because I don't want to butcher anybody's name, because I've had my name butchered the entirety of my life. So I'm just going to go with the Chancellor for now. So if anybody can tell me how to pronounce the Chancellor's name, please do so. I would love to be able to get it right. But yeah, so the Chancellor in China with his rebel army are supposedly entrenched within the city wall of Jianyang. That's how Google Translate pronounced it. So again, I don't know if that's how I'm pronouncing it, but they're entrenched in Jianyang, and they apparently have been resisting the Mongol horde for over 30 years. And then the Polo family, meaning Marco Polo, his father, and his uncle, who are foreign merchants from Venice, are walking and going into the heart of Kublai's war-torn empire. And then and then it cuts to burned down village. What I come to realize is the years 1273, and the Polo family is walking through this village when the Mongol people show up and kill some of the people there that are with the Polo family. And then they are taken to Kublai's palace, where they then crawl up to Khan on their hands and knees. So can someone explain to me what that exactly is supposed to mean? Like, why did they have to do that? Because I wasn't entirely sure. I'm assuming it's because Kublai is making people do that to show respect to him or something like that. I'm not quite entirely sure about that, so that's why I'm asking you guys to tell me what that's supposed to signify and why. So that's my whole thing on that. And so the father gives Khan holy oil because he failed to bring priests with him, it seems. So, and yeah, that, and the Pope, or sorry, not the Pope, Khan says to Marco's father, who I also find out later is his name is Niccolo, and he says to Niccolo that the Pope must bow down to Khan as well and pledge his fealty. I'm assuming it's because the Pope has failed, or not really failed, but refused to do so up until this point. And then Khan proceeds to banish the Polo family, but then Niccolo offers Marco up as Khan's servant, so that he was able to continue going along the Silk Road, which Khan permits. But as Niccolo and his uncle walk out, Khan tells them that he still needs the priests that he was promised, and that's when you see Marco getting dragged away to another part of the palace to be washed and shaved before being put into a cell. And then it cuts to the port of Venice 3 years earlier, in 1270, where you see Marco at the port picking up items, and then going to other places to pick up other stuff. And then you see him on a rooftop writing when he sees a ship. I assume that's the ship that Niccolo was on. And then you see Marco going into a church where his father is. And it's revealed that, or at least it's revealed to me, that Niccolo has been absent for pretty much most, if not all, of Marco's life. Niccolo got Marco's mother pregnant, and then either while she was pregnant or shortly after Marco was born, he left and started to go along the Silk Road on a journey or whatever. And it also revealed that Marco's mother died when he was 6. Something that Niccolo had not known about previously, because obviously he just got back from his years-long journey on the Silk Road. And that's where he explains to Marco where he's been all this time. And when Marco asks why Niccolo never wrote to his mother, he said that it was complicated, and still doesn't explain it, which is kind of annoying to me, because like this kid kind of needs an explanation, because otherwise he's gonna feel like you abandoned him. So please explain. But he never does in the whole thing. So Marco expresses that he wants to go with his father to on the Silk Road with him, because apparently Niccolo's gonna go back on the Silk Road. But Niccolo says that Marco can't, for reasons that I can't quite remember at the moment. I think one of them was because Marco has never really been on on that kind of journey before, so he wouldn't be that helpful or that great at it. I think that's one of the reasons why. And then and then after Marco gets rebuffed, he then he stows away in the ship where Niccolo finds him, but allows him to stay anyway. And then it cuts to Tabriz, I think is how you pronounce it. And it's the year 1271, so it's a year later. And you see Marco walking along with all the people there, and he is learning how to pronounce the local language, which I find kind of admirable. And then you see, I think it's Maffeo, his uncle, who is arguing with a monk or a priest or whatever, and then Marco intervenes. Excuse me. And Niccolo is upset by the fact that Marco intervenes with that whole situation because he still thinks that Marco isn't really equipped to handle that type of situation because he hasn't been on this type of journey before. And he also tells Marco to go home, but he doesn't. And Maffeo apparently is upset that Marco is with them. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, come on. Clearly Niccolo still was with them, even though, Marco was still with them, even though Niccolo and Maffeo had expressed that they didn't want him to be there with them. And then it cuts to the Taklamakan Desert. I think that's how you pronounce it. Again, if I'm saying it wrong, please tell me if I am. And the year is 1273, so it jumps 2 years, or about 2 years. And you see them walking along the desert, and then, or not the desert, but you just see them walking along, it's a desert. So kind of walking along in the desert, and then they are in a canyon and they suddenly see a cloud storm with Mongol riders coming towards them, making them hide. And then a short time later, when it has the sky has darkened and everything, Niccolo is talking to Marco, and he says that he feels like, or can tell that Marco has the blood of an adventurer in his veins, and that he will eventually meet the great Kublai Khan. And then it just cuts back to the present, and Khan is asking his advisors on what he should do in regards to the Zhangyang city. One person says don't do it, don't try to conquer it. Another person says go ahead, do it. And then one of them, I think he is from China, from that particular city, and who has obviously pledged his allegiance to Kublai Khan, and he says that he poses the question to Kublai Khan of whether he wants to be the emperor of China or the emperor of Mongolia, implying that he can't be the emperor of both at the same time. And he says that Kublai Khan says that he wants to conquer Zhangyang anyway. And so then it cuts to China, where the chancellor, whose name I don't know how to pronounce, is secretly wishing for the emperor's death so that he can, I guess, rule is what I'm getting told, at least with what he's saying and how he's saying it. and the person that he's with, that he's talking to about this, um, he tells this guy that his sister is a royal concubine, um, and that she is sleeping with um, the governor of another city, I think. Um, well, at least another city within the Mongolian Empire, and so that's where he tells the other guy where his sister is, and then he cuts to the scene where she's currently having sex with a dude. Um, I'm not going to go into any more detail other than that. Um, and then you see the guards take Marco out of his cell to a room with this blind guy. I don't know if they ever tell you his name during that scene, or any scene after that in this episode. So I'm not sure what his name is, so I'm just going to refer to him as the blind guy, which is sad to say, but because I don't necessarily want to nickname him the blind guy, but that's the only name I can come up with him for now because they don't tell us his name. But yeah, so this blind guy is teaching Marco to fight, um, and Marco's also taught Mongolian culture and everything. Um, then Marco is taken to Kublai and asked to describe the desert, which he eventually does after kind of stuttering over it after a little bit. And Khan is making Marco accompany a tax collector to get a better sense of the imperial city, so that so that Marco can come back and describe it as he saw it. And then let's see what else happens. Marco is then given a better room than the cell that he was put in at the beginning of the episode, and he's writing in this sort of journal. Can't quite see what he's writing though. It looks kind of like a drawing or something, along with some words, but you don't really focus on that too much. And then, excuse me. He then puts the journal away underneath the seat and leaves the room, and eventually kind of makes his way towards this woman that caught his eye earlier in the episode when his father, uncle, and himself were first meeting Kublai Khan. Because I think that's where he saw her for the first time. Can't quite remember. But I think this is where he sees her again, and he seems like he has taken an interest in her, and so this guy comes up to him and notices that Marco has kind of been, looking at this woman. I think I know what her name is, but I don't know how to pronounce it either. But anyway, so that happened. And and then it cuts to Mei Lin and her brother, the Chancellor, as they're talking in this room, and she tells him that he must make a truce with Khan whenever Khan comes to Zhongyang. But he says that the Emperor would never have wanted to make a truce with Kublai when he was well, so he doesn't see the need to do that even as the Emperor is dying. And then it cuts back to the blind man teaching Marco how to fight, and the blind man telling Marco to let go of his father and the anger that he feels for his father, which I think is kind of a good thing because I mean, in order because the blind man is right. In order, he needs to be able to Marco needs to be able to survive there, and he can't very well do that if he's holding on to the anger that he feels for his father. Which I mean, I also can understand why Marco is mad because I'd be mad too. But the blind man has a point. He has to be able to survive there in Mongolia, and in order to do so, he needs to center himself, I guess, and learn how to fight and learn the Mongolian culture, so that he won't either be killed or banished from Mongolia, where he will possibly be killed anyway by the elements because he's not used to living in other countries that obviously have different climates and everything. Um, so I agree with the blind man on that point. And then you see not Genghis Khan, sorry. Then you see Kublai Khan's son, Jingim or Jinjim. I think that however you say it. Please correct me if I'm not pronouncing it right. He has ridden to Zhanyang, where he finds out right before he's going to attack that the army that was supposed to meet up with him hasn't come, and so he only has 500 men to fight the army in Zhanyang, and that he's outnumbered basically. The one of the people with him, one of the high-ranking people with him, says to just go ahead and fight the Zhanyang army. His general, though, says that they should retreat because they are outnumbered. And then the prince goes ahead and attacks Zhanyang anyway, and that is basically the end of the episode. And so, my whole thoughts on it, I liked the episode, and everything. It was pretty good. Obviously, shows start off fairly slowly, so you kind of have to get through the whole background information first to be able to understand what is going on in present day, as far as present day, when the story is supposed to be set. And so I can get behind that the show might start off a little bit slowly, and so I'll watch episode 2 and continue from there and see if I like it. I'm gonna make a prediction, even though I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna continue with Marco Polo, but my prediction is that Marco is going to get into a relationship where, like, whether it's just a physical relationship, meaning sexual relationship, with the girl that he saw twice within the episode, or a full-fledged relationship including sex. It's one of those two. He's gonna get in one of those two types of relationships with her before he can be allowed to touch a woman, because towards the end of the episode, Khan brings Marco to his sex house, I think. I don't know quite what that's supposed to be, but Khan brings Marco there and shows, and it pretty much there's a whole bunch of people having sex within that place, and Khan had told him that in order for him to trust him, he needs to, be able to show that he's trustworthy and loyal, and that Marco has pledged his fealty to him. And so I'm thinking that Marco is gonna end up start a relationship with that girl that uh, was staring at throughout the episode. I'm thinking he's gonna start a relationship with her, and before he's allowed to actually touch a girl and everything, or whatever that's supposed to mean. But yeah, I think that that's what's gonna happen with him. And then someone's gonna end up finding out. Possibly that guy who had caught him staring at that girl is gonna find out, or possibly the prince is gonna find out that Marco started a relationship with that girl before he was allowed to start relationships with Mongolian women. So I think that's one aspect I think is gonna happen. As far as anything else that goes, I think, well, obviously, Marco is gonna gain the trust of Kublai Khan, because Marco is supposed to be this historical figure and everything. So I'm assuming that he's gonna either gain the trust of Kublai Khan, or he isn't, and he's gonna end up creating an army of his own to fight Khan, or fight the people in Zhongyang or something. I don't know. This is all very new, seeing as how this is only the first episode. So I mean, I'll expand on this second part of my predictions as the episodes pass. But definitely, I'm gonna stick by the whole Marco is gonna end up in a relationship with that woman bit. I still think it might be a little bit too early to say that he's gonna get caught with the woman prematurely. But I'm gonna just stick by the whole he's gonna end up being in a relationship with her before he's allowed to have a relationship with her thing, and then see where that goes. So as far as 11/22/63, I'm gonna what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna watch the first two episodes, I guess, sometime this weekend, and then make a video for those two episodes Monday, and then let you guys do predictions on 11/22/63, if you guys want to, in the comments, and then see where that goes. With that said, if you like my video, like it. If you like my video, subscribe to it, so you can get more videos about me recapping Marco Polo and 11/22/63 and other shows later on this year that are coming back. If you didn't like it, I can't do anything about that. I'm sorry. But yeah, if you liked my videos, subscribe and like, and come back and watch me recap more shows. And just, if you have any comments on the episodes that I do, just write a comment in the comments below and tell me what you think about what I have said so far. But with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye.